This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Complete Guide to Everything podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
I'm Tim.
How are you doing this year? This decade, Tim.
Tom, as this decade comes to a close, I've been doing a lot of thinking about the way I live my life.
Yeah.
The kind of man I am.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of human I am.
Yeah.
The kind of friend, community member.
Well, that's good to hear. The friend part,
spouse.
at least, that you're rethinking how you approach that.
I'm evaluating. I'm not re-evaluating. I'm taking a look at everything. Some things are fine, like the way the friendship stuff. I'm really great at friends.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
I'm one of the best at friends, Tom.
Sometimes, a lot of times, I send you emails and I don't get a response, or I send you a text and I don't get a response.
Oh, crap.
What?
A friend of ours invited us to a bachelor party weeks ago, and I still haven't responded.
Yeah.
And I've meant to respond every day. I'm a bad friend. I had to reevaluate that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
Well, I'm glad I was able to help you reevaluate that, and now that's your decision to reevaluate it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Tom. You're a real hero. I'm one of those guys. I'm one of these jerks that's just like, I know it's arbitrary, but I think a new year and a new decade is really like, oh, I'm gonna really take this opportunity to become a better person, or to think about the way that I am. And the decade's huge, man.
Yeah.
Ooh, the Roaring 20s are gonna be a lot different from this guy.
Yeah.
For this guy.
For this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. First off, he's gonna become a flapper.
A flapper. Well, let's dance. Oh, the Roaring 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be one of the fat cats.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If they outlaw something, I want to keep doing it without any repercussions. I want to be rich.
I saw a thing yesterday, because we live in New York City. They have these like electronic billboards like outside my home.
The future is really coming true, and it sucks.
Sometimes, like, I walk down the street, and like, if you do step back for a second and think about it, you're like, yeah, there's screens all over the place that I'm just used to. That there's a screen on my corner that the city runs that is just on 24 hours a day, occasionally showing useful information that the city provides, like, oh, there's a delay on the subway or whatever, but mostly just showing ads.
Yeah. I don't.
And that's what replaced the phone booths. So you can dial a number on there, or you can like charge your phone using it as like USB plugs, and it has like a Wi-Fi signal it puts out, but like you wouldn't want to touch it or plug something into it or connect to that Wi-Fi signal ever if you could avoid it.
Whatever manufacturing company, whoever owns that company that manufactures those things, is really good friends with some powerful people on the city council, because they probably poured billions of dollars into those things that are only ever defecated on or urinated on.
I remember reading, like, when they first came out, how the security was going to work for the Wi-Fi signal, where it was like...
It wasn't?
No, it sounded... You know what? It sounded like one of those things where they were overconfident about it.
Or maybe every time you logged onto that, now the NYPD is reading everything you do on your phone. Or they probably don't even know how. They're probably just downloading it to some server somewhere that's insecure.
And just sifting through it.
Yeah.
No, it was something where like the firmware will basically like restore itself every 24 hours. So even if somebody did hack it, it would get restored. But that was one of those things that I read, and I thought, oh, that's kind of clever. What if somebody hacks the image of the firmware restoration, though? So what if every time it's restoring itself, it's just putting the hacked version back on? But anyway, I was walking by one of those things, and occasionally it shows facts on there. And it said that in the Roaring 20s, it was estimated that there were over 100,000 speakeasies in New York City.
100,000?
Yeah.
How many bars are in New York?
Yeah, I don't think there's 100,000 bars in New York. 100,000 speakeasies. That's crazy.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it was more convenient to get a drink in the 20s than it was nowadays.
Yeah, it's so hard to get a drink these days.
Sometimes I have to walk half a block to find a bar.
There are just over 51,000 businesses licensed to sell alcohol.
But that
in the
includes
entire
restaurant.
state. In the entire
What?
state. Well, I'm reading this off of Quora,
Okay.
which is, as we know, not super accurate.
Yeah,
Ooh,
sometimes it is.
TripAdvisor has an article, smoker-friendly bars in New York City.
Huh. I
Yeah,
didn't
you
know
want
that
to
was
come to
still a
New
thing.
York and smoke, head to the Soho Cigar Bar.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you go to a cigar bar, of
Yeah.
course. Imagine going to a cigar bar and you spark up a stogie and they say, oh, excuse me, there's no smoking in here.
You'd be like, what is this?
What is this? Practical Jokes TV show?
What is this? Is this an impractical joke?
Yeah.
Are there 4 Goombas from Staten Island goofing off in a van nearby?
Yeah, so I'm about to come out and ask me if I have a ham sandwich to eat or something silly. I'll never get over that guy asking me about silly things in the supermarket.
Yeah, you had a run-in with the impractical
Yeah.
jokers years ago.
Yeah.
It's fine. They seem like nice guys.
They seem like nice enough guys, but the PAs were like, "You have to sign a release." I'm like, "I'm not signing a release. And it's for a practical joke show." Well, then I especially
I'm
am
double
not.
about signing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign this thing, and then I'm gonna walk outside. There's gonna be marbles all over the sidewalk or something. Forget it.
There's going to be a bucket of water perched on the door.
Yeah, I went. We just had Christmas time here in New York City,
Yeah.
and I
Christmas in New York. A fairy tale of New York. Is that what the song's called?
yeah,
That
something
everybody's
like that.
That's my favorite Christmas song.
Yeah.
Die Hard's my favorite Christmas movie.
Look at how alternative I am. I went to
It's a good song.
the store to do some last minute Christmas shopping,
Yeah.
and it was horrible. And then on the way home, it wasn't that like I needed to get 2 things maybe. No, I needed to get like 3 things. I need to pick something up that I bought with like a in-store pickup at Best Buy. So that was
Okay.
like easy enough. It's like, all right, I bought it. They have it. I just need to stand in this line. It's a long line, but whatever. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then
What was it?
a record player for my brother.
Wow. Oh, talk about hip.
Yeah. Well, I've heard he likes records. I heard he's into
Did you
music.
buy him the Pogues record that has Fairy Tale of New York on it?
They were out of it, unfortunately.
And the Record Store Day pressing of the Die Hard soundtrack.
I don't think Best Buy carries Record Store Day releases.
Yeah.
But then I also had to go to Target to get gift wrap. I went to the gift wrapping section, and it was picked over. It was clean out. So I had to get Hanukkah wrapping paper.
Oh, man, Tom.
But then I later found that they just moved all the Christmas wrapping paper somewhere else.
Wow.
So I got some of that. And then I just had to wait in a long line for that.
Why don't you just use newspapers? The funny pages.
You know what? I did think I have like some brown wrapping paper for like shipping and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I wrapped your present in.
And it looked great, Tom.
Yeah. But I was like, nah, I should get some Christmas wrapping paper. I got this wrapping paper. It looks like Santa's buckle, his belt buckle.
Wow. So it's like you're unzipping his fly?
Yeah, it's an innuendo.
Yeah.
But on the way home, I was very stressed, even from just that hour of shopping.
Uh-huh.
I was very hungry. Now it was the afternoon. I had not eaten yet. And I decided, because I had been through that stress and because I had hadn't eaten, that I could justify going to McDonald's for lunch. And then
you have a lot of little tricks that you do to justify doing certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's called self-care, Tim.
Okay. Self-care.
So, but I was on the way to driving to McDonald's, and this bus was pulling out, and it blocked the entrance to McDonald's.
I'm trying to figure out.
So
the
it was like
logistics.
parked
Was
right
it on the sidewalk?
No, it parked right in front of the entrance to McDonald's, like the curb cutout where you can drive in.
Uh-huh.
But then it was,
were you driving?
Yeah, I was driving a car.
Okay.
That's what I said in the beginning. So
Did you?
Yeah, I was
You
driving.
drove to the Target in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
You are a maniac.
I had to go I found a parking spot.
On like Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Man.
I didn't want to take the subway there.
I know. I mean, it's perversely impressive.
Yeah.
That you.
Well, and I'll tell you, this record player weighed a ton. Like I had a backache just from carrying it to the car.
Yeah.
I found a parking spot like a block away, which wasn't bad. But the parking, I was not allowed to park there for another 15 minutes. Car in front of me and behind me had tickets on their windshield. So it's like, oh, somebody already came through. And I walked almost all the way to the mall. And then I went, if I get a ticket, I'm going to be so mad. Like if this present now costs me an extra like $100 because of a parking ticket, I'm going to be furious. So I went back to my car to sit in it to make sure I didn't get a ticket, which worked out because then I got to see the person parked in front of me come back to their car to find a ticket on it and then blow their top, which was fun to watch. And carrying this record player, the car was very heavy. But anyway, so on the way back, I'm going to McDonald's, and this bus, I'm about to make a right, and then this bus starts pulling out. I'm like, oh, crap. Now the bus is blocking the way. So I slammed on the brakes so I could make the right.
Started banging on the horn.
No, I slammed on the brakes, and the guy behind me ran into me.
Oh, Tom, this is the worst Christmas Eve ever.
And then he's honking at me like it's my fault. I was like, oh, man. So I like pulled over and he took off.
Oh.
So I pulled over and got out of my car and looked, and it was fine. There was no damage. But then he got stopped right at the red light. So I pulled up behind him, and then I just fantasized about strangling him to death. About pulling him out of his car and just strangling him to death. So it's very much.
Well,
in the
I mean, you
Christmas spirit.
didn't get to go to McDonald's.
No,
so
I went around the block
about killing a man.
Look, I needed to get some kind of satisfaction some way. No,
I do appreciate. You know what? Fender benders happen all the time in the city here.
Yeah.
And if everybody's following the speed limit, which nobody ever is, but like if
Right.
you're around there, if you bump into somebody at 25 miles an hour.
Well, 25.
Yeah. But like in stop and go traffic.
Yeah, no, I mean, this was like.
I appreciate
honestly,
nobody getting out and being like, well, and like you, in the long run, Tom, the guy was angry at you or being a jerk or whatever. But imagine having to get out of your car and have a conversation and have that person be unreasonable towards you.
Then I would have strangled him.
Yeah, exactly. So like the fact that he's like, screw this, I'm getting out of here. Like I could see now you have righteous anger.
Yeah.
But also you don't have to actually deal with him and nothing happened.
I got his license plate number, though. I'm going to file a false report.
Nice. You could file a real report.
No, I'm going to say I saw him kill somebody. Tim, it's almost, to us, it's almost Christmas Eve. And if you're listening to this episode,
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. If you're listening to this episode somewhat in a timely fashion, it's almost New Year's Eve for you. If you're listening to this after New Year's Eve, you gotta
turn it off.
You gotta start listening to the episodes.
No,
earlier.
turn it off and save it for next year. It'll be just as relevant. I mean, this is going to be a classic, Tom.
Yeah, a New Year's classic.
People are going to stop partying on New Year's and just gather together at 10:58. Put this guy on. Listen to your classic tale about being rear-ended on Christmas Eve.
What are your feelings about New Year's Eve as a whole?
Tom, I'm pro New Year's Eve, and I'll tell you why.
All right.
Christmas gets such a build-up, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a month of decorations are up.
Oh,
and
more than a month
preparation.
nowadays.
Yeah, and Christmas music, and everybody's like, and I like Christmas. I like getting together with loved ones and exchanging gifts and all that stuff. I really enjoy it.
You know what? One thing I didn't hear you say you enjoyed.
The video game you bought me for Christmas?
No.
You bought me a video game for Christmas. It was nice.
The baby Jesus being born.
Yeah, that too. Tom, I was building to that.
Uh-huh.
I'm always building. I always end with the baby Jesus,
Uh-huh.
no matter what I'm talking about. Top 5 guys of all time.
The baby Jesus.
Number 1, baby Jesus. Tom, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So the build-up is really big.
Yeah, to
And
Christmas.
then ever since I was a kid, like by like 1 p.m. on Christmas Day,
You're
it's
done.
It's just deflated. All of it is over,
Yeah,
right?
you've opened up all the presents.
Yeah, you've done your stuff, and it's just like, and for me, especially now, with like having jobs and stuff, right? You know, as a grown up, it's nice to have like, oh no, it's still, you're not back in the real world for another week. There's still this full week before New Year's where everybody's still like not being responsible about work and just kind of like hanging out, and still you can still go to parties and stay out late and get drunk and stuff, and like nobody's real. You don't really have to be responsible for another whole week.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
See, as a kid, I was going to say what annoyed me after like 1 p.m. on Christmas was usually by that time I had gotten something that needed batteries that I didn't have batteries, or I got like Jeffrey Bucks for Toys R Us. And I knew what I wanted already, and it was, oh no, the world stopped. Everything is stopped and shut down.
Well, back when we were kids, they didn't make people go to work on Christmas Day.
Right.
Now, if Toys R Us didn't get crapped into oblivion by private equity firms, they'd make the workers show up there.
Yeah, which would be great for kids. Yeah. Because as a kid, you don't appreciate the time between Christmas and New Year's because you're thinking, well, I don't have shit to do anyway. It's fine. Not going to school is pretty cool, but I don't know. I'm also not seeing my friends.
Yeah, that's and also like there is this thing when you're a kid when you're like, maybe getting the toys I wanted didn't fix that hole in me.
Oh, 100%.
Like you start to think like, oh no, maybe the world is not.
Whenever you get, the more you've built up what it is you want, and then let alone if you don't get it, but then it's some ways it's worse when you do get it, and especially when you're a kid and you've built these toys up as this toy is going to fix every problem I have, this spy gear. Finally going to be able to take down my enemies.
Yeah. No, it doesn't work that way.
The toys are never as good as the commercial made them out to be, so you're always somewhat disappointed in them.
Yeah. I remember when I was like 7 years old, and I figured out like, oh, this is the peak. Peak Christmas is when I am starting to walk down the stairs on Christmas morning, and after that, it's all downhill.
Yeah. So did you do like a long extended the Joker dance down the stairs?
I've been doing the Joker dance to Rock and Roll Part 2 proudly for decades, Tom.
Just really milking it.
Yeah.
Making it last as long as possible.
Yeah. And as a kid, my favorite song by my favorite artist to this day.
My initial thought, and I agree with you, but my initial thought was that the problem with Christmas Eve is that it's too close, or New Year's Eve is that it's too close to Christmas.
Nope.
And that they should be moved apart a little bit.
Nope. No, it's the perfect. It's perfect. It's the perfect amount that you can get away with not having anything real happen between them.
Because there's no other holidays that are that close.
No, that are kind of universally
that big a holiday.
Yeah. No, if it was a week and a half even, we'd be back to reality and nobody would give a shit about New Year's Eve.
Yeah. It's just close enough.
Yeah. It's perfect. It's the perfect time. As for New Year's Eve
now
itself,
it's the same number of days apart every year, or does it change?
Depending on
leap year.
Leap year. Mm-hmm. Now, New Year's Eve itself.
Yes.
I know people call it, quote, amateur hour.
For the listeners at home, Tim did quotes with the air quotes with his fingers.
Because, like, I understand. It's like, it's people just, everybody goes out and drinks.
Yeah.
It's like,
they're not professional drinkers like me.
Yeah, and every time, like, members of, like, my family say that, it's like, I understand what you're saying, but also, like...
Do you understand what that implies about you?
Exactly. But I take it in the spirit. It's just like everybody's out trying to party at once, and society isn't meant to sustain everybody being out and getting reckless and ridiculous at one time.
I would say the problem isn't even necessarily that it's amateur hour. The problem is that there are some professionals or some people that are amateur looking to turn professional that they see it more as like, well, here's my chance to showboat.
Yeah.
Because amateur drinkers that go out drinking, that's where you get fun stories from. Where it's like, that's where people get like funny drunk of like, this is a person I never see get that drunk. And like, boy, they got way too drunk and they were, they had their tie around their head.
They wound up with the lampshade on their head.
Right. Whereas like,
they wound up doing offensive accents.
But the people that are amateurs looking to turn pro, they're the ones who are like, maybe this is my year to really turn pro drinking. I'm going to drink a lot.
Yeah.
And then those are the people that you turn around. It's like, wait, who are they going home with? Wait, why are they getting in that cab with that person? They're covered in vomit. Why are they doing this? They're the ones that
but then you're also like,
overboard.
well, they did punch that dude unprovoked, so maybe it's best that they get out of here.
Maybe they should just get out of here. That's my thoughts about the idea that it's amateur hour.
Yeah, I think it's just that everybody's going out. Like, I remember distinctly a few years ago, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. I think you were there. A bunch of us went to a bar called Larry Lawrence in Williamsburg, and it was nice. We got like a nice area all to ourselves.
Okay. I vaguely remember this.
And we're just like, we're going to be here, and we're going to sit here, and we're going to drink. And it was great for a while, and then everybody else in the area came in, and it just got real crowded, and then we couldn't get drinks, and then when we got up to the bar to get a drink was like $18.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, no, this sucks. And I just remember being like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be out on New Year's anymore. And since then, low-key New Year's, that's the way to go.
So that brings us into our next segment.
Oh.
The things you can do on New Year's.
Oh, wow, Tom. Okay, sorry. I didn't get the rundown before the show.
This is going to be a reoccurring segment in 2020. To be honest,
we're retooling the show.
I haven't thought about how we're going to carry this 52 more weeks.
We'll figure it out.
But,
we'll only need to figure out for 51 weeks, and 52 rolls around.
We can roll out the next segment.
Yeah.
Here are the options as far as I can see it. Going to a public place. Be it a bar, a club.
That's where I prefer to meet all strangers.
A discotheque.
Yeah.
Discotheque.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, going to a party, a private party.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And number 3, not doing anything at all.
What about going to the beach?
I would consider that a private party.
Were you with us when we went to the beach?
Yeah.
1999.
Into 2000.
Into 2000?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. We celebrate, and this was like, I guess a few of us had cell phones by then.
Yeah, I didn't. But like, I don't know. I was 17, I guess. Does that make sense? Yeah, that tracks.
I had a cell phone, but probably it didn't work at the beach.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm sure it didn't work. And we went to the beach, and this was during the Y2K hubbub. So we all had like a great time on the beach ringing in the new year, kind of not sure whose watch was accurate because, again, people didn't have like reliable cell phones. And then afterwards it's like, oh, I wonder if that Y2K thing happened. We're not near anything.
I just remember being like, oh, yeah, they say the planes might fall from the sky and nuclear arsenals will be
all go off.
Yeah.
And the microwaves might stop working.
And then I just remember being like to my parents, like, well, me and all my friends are going to the beach. See you next year. And they're like, bye, honey. And like these days, I feel like we would all be freaking out about that. Also, part of the reason we were at the beach was just like, whoa, if New York City like explodes, we'll probably be able to see it from the beach. And then like a year later, that wasn't so funny. That prospect was like, oh, that could actually happen. Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh, I thought we could go to the beach, and if society collapsed, we could just swim.
Part of it was like we'll be at the beach and we'll be removed, and maybe we'll have to. We'll be so far from society that we can repopulate.
Yeah, we can start a new society.
Should have had some girls come with us.
We could have a new society here on the beach.
The math didn't work out on that one.
But I was saying, let's start with Tim. You're derailing the new segment.
Sorry, Tom.
The first place.
This segment will get better in subsequent weeks as we work out the kinks.
The first option is going somewhere public. And in my mind, that is more of a bar or a nightclub or a discotheque.
Okay.
All these are bad ideas.
Or New York City's Times Square.
That's a whole different beast.
Well, then where the hell is that on your list?
That is.
You had 3 options.
Look, I'm talking about the average layperson.
Oh.
I'm not talking
about New Yorkers.
Well, I'm saying.
Hey, it's a New York thing. You wouldn't understand.
I'm
Only
saying,
in New York.
0.0001% of the world's population is in Times Square for New Year's Eve.
I think that's high.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's probably still like
There's
10
75 million people in Times Square.
But everybody has the option of either going to a public place, going to a private place.
Yes, that's any time, Tom.
I
That's
know.
any night of the week.
Tim, you're ruining. That's how the segment was going to keep going on.
Oh, in reality,
Yeah.
New Year's is what you make of it.
The segment,
any night could be New Year's.
The segment wasn't going to be what are things you can do New Year's. It was going to be what are things you can do this week. And one thing is you can go to a public place, but then every week it'd be like, well, I want to go swimming this week. Well, you got a few options. You can go to a public pool, you can go to a private pool, or you can fill up your bathtub.
Right. That's not really going swimming.
It's closer to going swimming than nothing.
Maybe not.
What if you're really tiny and you have a big bathtub?
Well, how often does that happen? Like Francis in Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Yeah, he could have done.
I was so jealous of Francis. Pee-wee was cool, but Francis was cool.
Yeah, Francis had that huge tub.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on bars, clubs, nightclubs, and discotheques?
I'm generally not a fan. I get along in bars. It's fine.
See, that's where I feel like the amateur hour thing comes from, because if you're going to a bar that's not normally crowded on New Year's Eve, it's going to be crowded, and there are going to be people who are really drunk. More people that are really drunk than normally at a bar, depending on the type of bar it is.
This is the paradox of bars. I kind of enjoy going to bars, but I don't like being around people I don't know, and I often don't enjoy being around people I know even.
Right.
But I don't see what's so appealing about a bar, because it's just a bunch of strangers there. And I never interact with anybody there in any positive way.
Right. Yeah.
It's only when something goes wrong that I'm interacting with somebody I don't know
the only
at a
time
bar.
we're at a bar is trying to avoid that at all costs. And occasionally you might have somebody near you at a bar make like a funny comment to you, and it's like, that's funny. I'm going to enjoy a chuckle with the stranger. But then if they try and say something after that, it's like, oh, come on.
Whoa, come on,
Look, man,
yeah.
I got my own friends. I'm not coming to a bar to have a conversation with you, some guy I've never seen before.
Yeah, come on. Let alone if you try to walk up and talk to somebody, they're liable to punch you in the face.
Right. Hey, that's my wife you're trying to talk to.
Yeah.
Do you think like that aversion to strangers is why we're not at bars all the time? Nah, it's tiredness too.
I think it's that, and I think it's why we don't do a lot of things, Tom.
That's true.
You notice how like
now
other
that he
people
mentions
do so much more stuff than people like us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that makes
Maybe
a lot of
that's
sense.
2020 for me. Maybe that's the roaring 20s.
Start doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to be out there, Tom.
Start running a speakeasy out of your apartment.
I would love to. That's my nightmare, actually.
Big strangers come to
Invite
your apartment
strangers
to
into
drink,
my home for
drink
an
out of your
illegal
bathtub.
thing. Yeah. You can't run a speakeasy, right? Not with it. You need permits.
Yeah.
I'm not.
That's
dealing
what makes
with
it a
bureaucracy.
speakeasy. You go to one of these speakeasies nowadays, and it's like, oh yeah, we should go to this place. It's a speakeasy. No, it's not.
No, it's not. It's
I
got
go
a
in,
speakeasy
and
vibe.
every time I go into a speakeasy place, I'm like, hey, you have a liquor license, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, busted.
Yeah.
I'm the Guess what? You thought I was the health inspector. I'm actually the speakeasy police.
The cool police.
See?
Oh yeah.
See, and you're gonna have to get rid of that.
Burn it with a lighter.
Yeah. See.
Call up City Hall and tell them to go screw.
Yeah. Tell them send all the cops you got.
Tell them the mayor, you're going to punch the mayor in the face.
Yeah. Tell them we're going to start serving drinks at blind people. And we don't even care.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant serving drinks to blind people. I was like, Tom, that's legal.
Tim,
are we still in the segment?
We're still in this. Tim, the segment is, look, you're going to have to get used to the new format of the show.
Okay.
Because the segment lasts the entire episode. Now, we haven't done with the first part of the segment yet.
Okay. Just making sure.
As far as
track.
going to public places for New Year's is concerned, I've been to bars. Bars are annoying, but
they're too crowded.
It's too crowded, and that's what's annoying. Honestly,
I'm rich now, so I don't care that it's expensive. But back when, and I'm not rich now. I just don't spend money at bars really.
Right.
My social drinking budget has gone down by 99% in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
So
you've shifted all that drinking to home drinking.
Exactly. And that's much cheaper. The bottles are so much. I was always a bottle service guy, as you know.
Right.
So now I buy my
bottle
own.
Service Timmy.
Yeah. Now I go get bottle service, but I only stay for 10 minutes and I take the bottles to go.
Yeah. And they give them to you at a discount because of that?
No. But
you don't have to tip.
I don't have to tip, or I choose not to tip. See, in the past when I tried not to tip, these guys at the club, they'd menace me. They'd shake me down.
This is a tangent, and I know you're probably just going to tell me I'm wrong. But sometimes I'll go, there's a diner very close to where I live.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes I'll order takeout there and go there to pick up the food.
Uh-huh.
It's great because I'm like, hey, I'm like practically next door. How long is this going to take? And they're like, 10 minutes.
You call?
Yeah, I call them
Nice.
up because I don't do it through like the Seamless or whatever.
Yeah. Is that so, Grandpa? You don't do it through the Seamless?
Yeah. Well, and then I pay when I get there.
Uh-huh.
But whenever I pay when I get there on a credit card, they always ask me if I want to put a tip on the credit card because it's one of these places where they have to like run the whole amount first.
Uh-huh.
So they always ask. I'm always like, well, no. I mean, I'm picking it up.
Yeah.
That's fine, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, the kitchen staff generally gets a cut of the tip, right?
Do they?
I think so.
Oh. I mean, I would be fine with it if I was like, here's like a couple of bucks for them.
Yeah.
But
don't you dare give this to any of the wait staff.
Well, they didn't wait on me, and it wasn't delivered to me. I mean, and the last time this happened, I felt like a jerk, but he was like, do you want to... And like he said it kind of dismissively just to check.
Yeah.
Like do you want to add a tip on this? And I was like, no, I'm doing all the work. I mean, I wasn't doing all the work, but I was... Anyway...
hey, 'tis the season to be sharing, Fred. I'm not gonna attack you for it.
Well, that's nice, Tim. Thank you.
In the words of
I'm not gonna look
Santa Claus, they do exist.
Because what am I gonna do? Tip 20% on a thing that I'm picking up, or tip less than 20%? Then I just look like a cheapskate.
Cheapskate, yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not going to tip at all because I'm just picking up. I don't tip the guys at McDonald's.
Also, you're doing the Steve Buscemi from Reservoir Dogs speech about it now.
Oh, is that a thing?
That's how I know you're in the wrong.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
He has a big speech in the beginning.
Oh, no.
Why? Oh, because society tells me I don't tip these people, but I have to tip these people? No, I don't buy it.
Oh, no.
It's about why he doesn't tip in a diner.
Oh, God damn it. Look, otherwise I tip there very nicely.
When your role model is Mr. Pink from Reservoir Dogs, Tom,
yeah,
maybe I don't need to be the one
all right,
to...
I'm going to stop ordering things from the diner. I'll just order things delivered and I'll tip them.
Also, you famously hate the Greeks, right, Tom?
I plead the fifth.
Wow, jeez.
Why do you assume it's Greeks that own the diner?
Because I've been there. I've been to that diner with you. It's a good diner.
It is a good diner. It's great.
It's a shame
hours.
that everybody's always spitting your food.
I hope not. You know what? A couple of times I've had hair in my food there, and I'm fine. I don't say anything.
I don't
pull
really
it
care
out.
about
Yeah.
hair in my food.
Yeah, I'd rather find hair than not find hair.
Whatever.
Well, I guess that's not true.
Here's
I'd rather
hair,
find
man.
hair and then be told later I ate hair.
Yeah, when people are like, "Oh, I'll never go back there. I found a hair." It's like, I don't know.
I pulled the hair out, and with it
You're
came all the everything I didn't want to eat.
Yeah, and also like
It's
you're
good for
inhaling
ya.
dead skin cells all
Yeah.
day. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just eat strangers'
Yeah.
skin and hair.
And also,
Gladly.
half the time you're drinking piss. Anyway.
That's true.
Um.
Oh, sorry. About going out on New Year's. Tom,
Yeah. So going to a bar, it's annoying, but it is what it is. You expect it.
you know what I want to do, Tom?
What's that?
And this will be the last thing I do.
Ever? Oh no. Is it a
No,
murder
no.
suicide?
No, because I'm pretty much
This will be the last thing I do. Kill you and then put the gun in my mouth.
no. I'm gonna. I like the idea that I'd murder suicide you.
Oh, what? You do it to your wife?
I would murder suicide anybody.
Sorry, I was being presumptuous.
No, I'm pretty much resigned or excited about not going out to public places for New Year's anymore. However, I have been on the outskirts of
Society.
Times Square.
Oh, okay.
Were you? It was one
Yeah,
year in
yeah.
college, I think.
Yeah,
I
I
went
was
up
there.
there. And, we didn't even get close, and it was stupid, and, we were just
We
bored.
got close enough to see the crowd.
Yeah. Which is what everybody wants to see. Well, there really is nothing to...
I think we were in college, but we were underage, and we had nowhere else to
so
go.
we couldn't get into bars, and we were
Right.
drunk. We were drinking.
Yeah, who knows what we were drinking and where we got it from. But it was let's not ring in the New Year's in this, tiny dorm room with,
Yeah.
8 of us sitting here.
Yeah.
8 guys just sitting around looking at each other under fluorescent lights.
And being penned in Times Square where you can't leave to go to the bathroom, and it's just
you gotta wear diapers. You gotta wear underwear.
Tom, you should be wearing underwear most places. That's just my one man's opinion. But I would like to go to the Olive Garden in Times Square.
I had that in my notes. I was gonna bring that up.
It's sold out now, which makes
Oh.
sense. It's only a few days before New
Yeah.
Year's. It's $400 per person.
I didn't realize it was that much. I recant my earlier
Hold
statement.
on. It goes from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Okay. 5 hours.
Open bar,
Mm-hmm.
a delicious full dinner buffet.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Will and his crew will be laying down the dance faves.
Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff.
No, it's their son, DJ Will. They used each of part of their names.
Yeah, he also happens to be a cook at the Olive Garden.
I mean, 5-hour open bar and an all-you-can-eat Olive Garden
Well,
buffet.
no, that's not worth $400. What's worth $400 is that you get to go on the balcony.
The views from the restaurant are awesome, and there is a limited view of the ball drop from the inside. While we've had the good fortune of getting to see the ball drop from outside our front doors in the past, due to NYPD security issues, we can't sell the tickets based on the premise that a view of the ball drop is guaranteed. Our restaurant is surrounded by views of Times Square, but a view of the ball drop is not included in the price of the ticket. That makes it seem like
weird.
we're not allowed to say you'll see it, but you'll see it.
Oh, you think?
Right?
I was wondering if it's sometimes the NYPD puts up a blast shield right in front of our restaurant just in case.
Also, who gives a shit about the ball drop?
I mean, if I'm in Times Square, I'm dealing with all that, or I'm paying $400. I want to at least see the ball drop.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think $400 is all that crazy if that's going to be all the money you spend that night.
Yeah, for a New York City New Year's Eve out, if you want to go all out, you want to really make a big deal of it. It's a ridiculous amount of money to spend, but it's not that ridiculous compared to what other places would charge you for an open bar on New Year's Eve.
So,
let alone endless pasta and breadsticks, presumably.
Yeah. For that, I'm putting Olive Garden in the Hall of Fame. However, the Olive Garden does not escape also being put in the Hall of Shame. Tickets can be purchased in person or through the inquiry form on this website I'm at, right?
Yeah, just put your credit card number in the inquiry form.
There is a $25 charge for the cost of shipping the tickets.
Oh, come on.
Tickets purchased by credit cards accompanied by accompanied by a credit card authorization form that are not shipped will be held at the restaurant for pickup and must be picked up before the date of event, no later than Monday the 30th.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Tickets purchased but not picked up by this date will be forfeited, and we will not offer refunds.
That's absurd.
Hall of Shame, Olive Garden.
You can easily just have a list. Like, Olive Garden does not normally have ticketed events, I would presume. So it's fine. You could just have a printed out list and you can check IDs.
The doors will open at approximately 8 p.m. Lining up outside the restaurant prior to the event can become a security issue as mandated by the New York Police Department and may result in your removal from the area.
It sounds too risky, to be honest with you. I'll just go to an Olive Garden in the suburbs on New Year's Eve. Thank you
I
very
like
much.
this, too. This is a smoke-free event. You will not be permitted to leave the building or, quote, step outside for a cigarette. Attire is business casual, please. Too fancy for T-shirts and sneakers.
Yeah, well, that goes for
Olive
Garden in general.
Yeah. Anyway. No, and then they say this. I'm sorry I'm talking about Olive Garden.
No, it's fine,
but
Tim. 'Tis the season.
Exactly. There's no table reservations or tiered ticketing. No one is permitted to pay extra for a view.
So you have to, like, stake out a spot, it sounds like, once you get there.
But also, it sounds like find someone, slip them $20, and this is another thing where, like, you're not permitted to pay extra for a view, which really means, just find somebody who works here and pay them. And
you're not permitted, but hey, it won't be frowned upon.
The fact that they wrote, "We will not offer refunds," as big as possible.
Yeah. Tim's showing me his computer, and it is in a font that's
bigger than everything else on the page. It's like, why would you have to? Why would you have to say that?
Because every year they have to argue with somebody asking for a refund.
That said, I'd like to go there. I bet it's full of the coolest people on earth.
Yeah, well, look, Tim, we should take $800 from Patreon, and we should go there. We should
Instead of Little Women next week, it'll be us.
If we offer
other
the
people
live,
who paid $800 to be in there would love two guys podcasting. From
if we broadcast live from Times Square from the Olive Garden, and then
it looks like this whole page looks like they're itching to kick people out.
Oh, well, I'm sure that half the people doing this get kicked out for very good reasons.
Yeah.
There's only a couple of times that I can remember ever not being at, like, somebody's house or the beach or a public bar for New Year's Eve. And one of them is, I remember, I think it was in college. It might have been the New Year's before or after you were just talking about. Went to, like, this club that was, like, in retrospect, a bad news type place where it's like, oh, this place is $50 all you can drink beer on New Year's Eve. It's a little steep, but I guess I'll pay it.
Yeah.
Which, like, anybody offering that, it's like, oh, this place is bad. And it wasn't bad. It was just, I remember it was insanely packed. And this is when I was in college and I was single and very lonely. And and this girl came up to me and she was like, "Hi, do you have anybody to kiss for New Year's Eve?" And I was like, "Well, no, actually, as a matter of fact, I don't." And she was like, "Oh, my friend is looking for somebody to kiss." And I'm like, "Oh, great. Like, yeah, no, it's not this cute girl." But then she points to her friend. Her friend was even cuter. And I was like, "Oh, yeah. If your friend's looking for somebody to kiss, I'll kiss her on New Year's Eve." And then I couldn't find her when the ball dropped or what. I mean, not like I was, like, searching out. I was extremely uncomfortable with this whole situation, but also, like,
Where you're
extremely
like, she's gonna like me. I'm a nice guy.
no, but also like extremely
Her
willing.
friend brokered this, so she has to do it.
Extremely willing to be like, all right, she probably was too shy to ask, so she asked her friend, and like, oh, this is great because I'm again extremely lonely and now also very drunk.
Yeah.
And then the ball drops, and I turn around and she's kissing this guy, and this guy.
You ruined my life.
No, it was a guy that.
How dare you? You were supposed to be kissing me.
No, they were making out like crazy, and he was gay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, well, you're barking up the wrong tree, lady.
Hey, you idiot. Don't you even understand? Here I am, a nice guy.
A nice straight guy.
Willing to kiss you at midnight because you're too much of a loser and
Yeah.
a tramp.
No, and she was being a tramp.
Oh, man,
No.
Tom.
I'm kidding. It was just like a real. It wasn't like that at all. It was. I turned and saw that one. Well, that's a real kick in the teeth. That's too bad. God damn it.
I thought I was going to, get to kiss somebody on a technicality. But
Right, on New Year's Eve. And like that was fine. At that point, a technicality was 110%
Yeah.
fine by me.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen, and I was just like,
Probably good for her because, like, at least it's like, look, she was just looking to kiss somebody.
Yeah.
For fun. And, like, this guy probably was just like, hey, for fun. And you were like, there's a lot riding on this roll, Tommy.
Yeah, I was like, oh boy, I don't know. Is this who I want to get married to? I'm not sure. Well, it's too late to turn back now. I've already told her friend I will. And then another time I went to a New Year's Eve thing. This was with an ex-girlfriend where we were in the Bahamas. I think it was the Bahamas, and went to a casino for New Year's Eve.
Ooh, a casino New Year's sounds glamorous.
It was like very James Bondian. But like her parents were paying for the dinner, and I found out like midway through the dinner that it was like a $1,500 a plate dinner.
Jesus.
And I was like, what? Oh no. Like now I can't enjoy my dinner because this
I
is
just wanted grilled cheese.
and I just ordered chicken fingers. So I felt incredibly uncomfortable, and I was also like very, very sick. We had flown in a small plane to get there, a small plane that also had. It's like as we were getting into this small plane, I was like, "How come there's two guys wearing handcuffs on this plane?" And somebody was like, "Oh, they're Cuban refugees. They're being flown back to Cuba." It's like, "Oh no, this is horrible! Like they're gonna get flown back and probably not get the best treatment about trying to flee Cuba." It's like, all right, well, to get that out of your mind, we're going to a $1,500 plate dinner. And I got a horrible, because it was like a small plane. I was already sick. The altitude change, like my ear popped and then never unpopped.
Oh, God.
And it was just
my nightmare.
Horrific. And then once it started to, like the pressure started to change, it was just like a 24-hour period of just...
Was that satisfying a little bit?
No,
knowing that
it was way too slow to be satisfying. It was horrible. And it was just me like constantly moving my jaw trying to get that to work. But I was very sick, but I was not allowed to leave because it was a very expensive dinner. And I wound up coughing so hard I threw up in my hands, and then I had to put the throw up in a plant so nobody would see it.
Happy New Year. Tom, I have a glamorous New Year's Eve story.
Oh, as glamorous as mine?
Probably a little bit more glamorous.
Not getting kissed and then throwing up in a plant?
I went and saw my two favorite rock bands play a concert.
Yeah.
And then I snuck backstage and partied with them.
Wow.
But I was also very sick. This was, I think, 2004 into 2005.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to see the Flaming Lips open for Wilco at the world-famous Madison Square Garden Arena.
Yeah.
And I was coughing and sneezing a lot. And I got real drunk before I went there. And
to make sure you enjoy the concert properly.
Yeah, exactly. Remember that was a thing?
It was like, I need to be real hammered.
One time I saw the Foo Fighters, who were my favorite band, and I don't remember anything about the concert.
Yeah.
Because I drank 18 beers before.
And nowadays, it's like, if I'm going to see something that the tickets were like more than $10, I'm like, well, no, I'm not going to have a lot of drinks because I want to remember everything about this.
Yeah. So I got there, and we were in the last row on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Last row or the first row?
The last row.
Okay.
So we had floor seats, but we were in the last row.
Okay.
So it was good for Madison Square Garden. If you're on the floor, it's good. We were right near the soundboard.
But you were sitting in a chair, to be clear.
Yes.
Well, that's where it's very confusing.
What do you mean?
You're saying you were sitting on the floor.
Oh, yeah. They had chairs on the floor. The floor is a section.
Okay.
Loge, tier 1, tier 2.
What does the Loge stand for? Lodge?
No, it's Loge. It's a word. So I took this big sip of beer.
Yeah.
And I was being obnoxious. I was, 20-something years old, 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And an obnoxious prick as I, being one as I
Luckily,
want
you
to
phased
be.
out of.
Yeah. Well, 2020s are going to be different for me. I took a big sip of beer and sneezed it all over this guy in front of me. And he just turned around and went like, "Oh, come on, man."
Yeah.
And I went, "Sorry, I sneezed." And he left the concert. Like this was this was like before the opening band. And he was just like, "Fuck this. I'm not dealing with this asshole the whole time." I don't know where he went, but presumably he went home.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Nowadays, that's what I would have done.
Oh, yeah.
I've been like, you know what? I really didn't want to come here in the first place.
think he
it's
was
gonna be a real pain in the ass getting home.
It really seemed like he was our age
Yeah.
now. And it's just like, okay, yeah.
The whole night I've been thinking about how I'm going to get home and how it's going to be a nightmare. Now this shit had just
yeah, it's
sneezed in my
8:30.
ear.
You know what? I'm calling it a night.
Yeah.
Actually, thank you. This helped me make my decision.
Yeah, it saved me a lot of money in cab fare.
Watched the Flaming Lips play. Don't remember a goddamn thing. Watched Wilco play. Don't remember a thing. But I was in the bathroom. Everybody was smoking cigarettes in the bathroom.
Whoa.
And I was
Pooping.
I was talking to some guys about Primus for some reason in the band, and they were like, "Yo, my buddy's working security over there. If you want to go backstage and get free food and drinks, just tell him, like Joe sent you."
Tell him Joe from the bathroom.
Yeah,
the guy who likes Primus.
Yeah, guess what? It worked. So like we were just walking around, and then we were so afraid that we were gonna get kicked out, and we were like,
yeah, because he didn't have like badges on or anything.
No, and then the concert was over, and we were just wandering around backstage, but we were young and broke.
Yeah.
And we didn't have money to spend on New Year's Eve prices, so we're like, we need to find like the band's food
Right.
and drink all their drinks and eat all their food
And steal their guitars.
and steal their girlfriends. So we went back there, but we were just like, we have a friend named Paul McKenna.
Yeah.
And we were like, if anybody asks, just say, we're here with Paul McKenna. He's running the lights.
Yeah.
And that gave us the confidence to go on into the bowels of
It's
Madison
great
Square
if
Garden.
a bunch of people have the same name in mind. If somebody's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Instead of 4 different people going,
Yeah.
If they're all like, "We're looking for Paul McKenna." Yeah, Paul McKenna. We're looking for Paul McKenna.
Yeah, he runs the lights.
He runs the light.
And it's
Well,
it's
why
also
would he
helpful
be down here?
that we knew a thing about a concert.
Right,
That there are
that-
lights at a concert. Well, how would people?
Yeah,
How would a layperson know that there are lights at a concert?
How would a layperson know that that there's a person behind those lights?
Yeah.
Those lights don't just change themselves.
So we found the place with all the beer and the food, but the bands were in there too, in their families.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, we gotta eat this food and drink these drinks. So we went in and we're like, don't worry, we'll fit in. And I wound up making fun of this one guy in Wilco. It looked like his hair was a helmet, and so I just kept calling him Hair. I was like, hey, helmet hair, hey, hair. And he didn't like me. And then I drunkenly kept telling the band members how big a fan I was of their band.
Yeah.
They didn't like that.
Right.
They were trying to hang out with their like girlfriends and families and stuff.
Right. And they probably didn't want fans in their dressing rooms.
Yeah, but nobody kicked us out. And then when they were leaving, they were like, "We're gonna go party at the Soho Grand, the bar there."
Yeah.
And we were like, "Okay." And then we found them out, and there were all these black SUVs waiting to take them down there.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got in one.
What?
And we did. And then we drank, and we had like all this expensive champagne at the Soho Grand. I mean, none of the band members wanted us there, but like, I was hanging out with my
But they
friends.
probably thought like, this is probably like the promoter's son or something.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, how
else would they get back here?
Oh, I heard they know Paul McKenna.
Right, they
the
know
lighting
the guy
guy
running the
Yeah,
lights for
so-
Madison Square
Yeah, we'll
Garden.
show them a good time.
Yeah.
So that was a cool New Year's Eve. I drank expensive champagne. I don't remember any of it. I threw up on the street after that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know where I was during that.
No. Probably that time you almost kissed that girl.
Yeah, maybe. It might have been that same time.
A deal was almost brokered to get you a midnight kiss.
One of these years, Tim. One of these years is going to be my year for somebody to tell me their friend wants to kiss me. And then I'm going to do it.
You know what? Was it a prank on you? Were they doing a prank on you?
No, it wasn't a prank because like I said, the you know what? Like honestly, I don't think she even laid eyes on me. I think it was mostly like this. The guy she did kiss was a very nice guy,
Yeah.
and I think she probably just saw like this guy's a nice guy. Like he doesn't seem like he's gonna do anything weird or
Yeah.
throw up in my mouth.
Yeah.
And there was a chance I would have done either.
Both at the same time.
Tim, segment 2. Having a private party.
Yeah.
That's the best way, right? I mean, that's what me and you have both done. Like we have a couple of friends that have like both done this in recent years, and it's great.
Yeah. And people tend to not get as rip-roaring drunk.
Because you're like talking, you're having conversations,
Yeah,
and
and,
stuff,
like,
and you're not screaming over each other.
Yeah, and you're not getting like pushed to the fringes by a bunch of strangers.
I was gonna say, I feel like in situations where it's hard to get a drink is where I get the most drunk, because I get very like antsy about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get 2 drinks when I go up there, and then I'm immediately gonna get back in line just in case.
Yeah. And I'm going to get the strongest drinks in case I had to wait for a while.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna get whiskey. I'm gonna get whiskey doubles. I'm gonna get 2. Then I'm gonna get back in line. Whereas if drinks are easily accessible, that's when I wind up having like 2 drinks.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
Exactly. Take the stress out of it, man. Also, I realized it's a bummer. It's a goddamn kick in the teeth to wake up feeling the worst you're going to feel all year.
On the
first day of the year. Like I said, I'm big on the whole, like, hey, it's a new year. It's a new opportunity to, like, rethink things. And then you wake up and you're like, fuck. I'm the same shitty piece of
the hell with
garbage.
everything. This year's
Yeah.
going to be worse than ever.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have the capacity to change. I'm just gonna watch America's Funniest Home Videos. Remember when we had 2 or 3 solid years when we were
we spent
roommates,
New Year's Day.
where people, excuse me, would just come over and watch America's Funniest Home Videos that we had DVR'd.
Yeah, we would ring in the new year by watching some pratfalls.
Yeah, and we'd order a whole bunch of Papa John's. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was weird. It's a
That
weird
was a weird-
tradition.
Yeah, but it is a good tradition.
Yeah. So that's what we recommend.
Yeah. Well, not Papa John's anymore necessarily.
No, it's owned by Shaq now.
It's not owned by Shaq. He's
Shaq's
just like
there.
An investor.
Shaq's making the pizzas.
No. I mean, those pizzas made me feel ill for 2 days.
2
Last time we-
slices made me feel like I was gonna die. Did you want to go into segment 3 real quick?
Segment 3, staying home and not doing anything. I'm getting close to this.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's the thing. You realize, like, New Year's Eve isn't like a thing. It's not a real thing. It's
a
fine.
construct, man.
Yeah, man. No, where if you've, that's where I'm at right now, where if I have something private that I can go to, like a person's having a party at their place or whatever.
The champagne room of a strip club.
Right. And when I say something a friend is doing, I mean a promoter at a strip club.
Yeah. Or a stripper that you've fallen in love with.
Right.
That you're sure also has feelings for you.
Look, Tim, why would you look at me the way...
It's true. I'm
You've seen, I've taken you there, and I've said, look.
Yeah, regrettably, you have taken me there. It's very uncomfortable for both me and the woman.
If I don't have like a friend's party to go to or something like that, like I would 100% be like, oh, cool, I'm just going to watch Dick Clark.
Well, I got terrible news
What?
for you, Tom.
No, they still run it, Tim. It's an American staple.
Dick Clark was murdered by Ryan Seacrest.
What?
Almost a decade ago.
No.
More than a decade ago?
No, I think it was less than a decade, actually. I was looking it up.
Yeah, if it were up to me, I think... I mean, I like spending time with friends and loved ones, so I'm going to do that. But if that wasn't immediately available to me, I'd be like, let's see if I can get a bootleg of Uncut Gems and just watch that on the couch.
Yeah, if I'm not spending New Year's with people that I care about, then like, oh yeah, no, I would just hang out. I would just go to bed early or whatever.
Yeah.
Play some video games, maybe. School some noobs.
Welcome to the new show, Two Cool Guys. Man, the 20s are going to have a lot of more fun anecdotes like this.
If you like the show, you can check out more at tcgt.com. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/complete guide. Follow us on Twitter at complete guide. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tom Reynolds.
Follow me at your pal Tim.
If you want to support the show, do your Amazon shopping at tcgt.com/Amazon. And check out our Patreon at patreon.com/complete guide, where you get episodes of Books the Podcast every week. This week, we're finishing up Little Women. Little Women, I finished the book, Little Women. Well, let's take a look at what I thought about this book. Yeah.
Then I'm going to see the movie.
Yeah, I'm going to go see the movie, too.
Starring Lady Bird.
And Midsommar.
Yeah.
Directed by Frances Ha. And Hermione is in it.
And Timothy Chalamet.
Patreon.com/complete guide. Hey, it's a real fun show. Even if you're not a book nerd like me and Tim. We're not going to be spending New Year's Eve together this year.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we'll be apart.
Are you upset about that?
I am. Who am I going to kiss on New Year's Eve?
Is that why you were imploring me or trying to goad me into a murder-suicide earlier?
Yeah, I mean, Tim, how can you ring in the New Year's without your old friend Tom?
Man, I think we've pretty much rung in most New Year's lately.
That is true. One of those New Year's is, I told you about, well, you've since heard about it, but that guy James Acaster wrote a book, and he talks about our friend Jeff, and it relays a story about you and Jeff at a New Year's party, and I was there, and I'm not even mentioned.
Well, I threw the party. It was at my home.
It wasn't at your
yeah, was it was. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was at Pollock's that year.
No, it was at mine.
When did you have a New Year's
It's when
Eve?
I lived in Williamsburg on Maspeth.
Was I there?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine I wouldn't have
Well,
been.
you were mad because you claimed you were at the party, and even though I had the conversation with Jeff that's credited in the book, you were like, I was there.
Right.
But you're not actually even sure that you were there.
Right. Well, you know what?
I think you owe Jeff an apology. And James Acaster. Maybe you should take back the death threat that you sent him in the mail.
It's too late to...
The Royal Mail.
I did send a letter to the publisher asking for them to recall all the earlier copies and publish a reprint.
Yeah.
That just had a little parenthetical. Tom Reynolds was also there.
This is too notable not to mention.
Well,
here.
I told you it was an extremely weird thing. I like James Acaster. And once I heard his new book was named after one of Jeff's songs, I was like, oh, I have to get this book. But then I I was like, I don't actually. Was it? I don't think it was published in America.
I don't think it's in print physically in America, right?
Yeah. So, but it was on Audible, and I was like, oh well. Especially like it's a comedian. Like, I'd rather listen to a comedian tell their story. They're gonna emphasize the right words and everything. And yeah, all of a sudden I hear he's like, hey, and then Jeff, he talked to his friend Tim.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know Tim. I already knew Jeff, but now Tim. And I'm like,
any minute now.
Any minute now he's gonna be like, and then Tom came into the room.
And then you looked over and he was kissing some gay guy.
Me?
Huh?
All right.
No, I was trying to, you were expecting something.
Oh,
that,
I see.
I was trying to. Now that sounds like I was making a rude joke.
Yeah,
at the
it
expense.
does.
I was just trying to mirror your earlier story.
I see. But this wasn't something about anybody kissing anyone.
I know, Tom. You know what I meant. You know what? I'm just gonna leave all this in
You're gonna
2019.
Start the new decade on a new foot, Tim.
Spend the first weeks of 2020 getting uncanceled, trying to figure out how to dig myself out of this hole I was trying to make it.
You were just trying to wrap up the episode.
And
in
just
a nice
me being like,
bow.
no, you didn't understand the joke. It's just like, oh, so I'm dumb. No, it was a poorly. I could get out ahead of this and just edit that out, but
Nah, it's my week to edit.
Okay, you're gonna turn up the
I'm
volume
gonna
on
turn
that
up the
part.
volume on that part. It's gonna be loud. I'm gonna put it in the beginning too.
It was a poorly constructed joke, but no ill will to any community out there. I also said Goomba earlier.
You'd like to apologize to Super Mario,
Exactly.
his brother Luigi, and the entire Mushroom Kingdom.
2020 is going to be different, everybody. Just you wait and see.
We'll see you there.
That was a HeadGum podcast.